Hello, and happy Monday.
What's
Welcome
up? What's
to,
up?
that's right, you already know what it is. Welcome to the Easy Monday Motivational with your boy E, my man CT. CT,
Ah,
how you doing, buddy? How you doing, brother?
boy, I'm feeling good, and I know I'm looking good.
I see you with the, let me see that t-shirt, man. You looking clean. Oh, hold up.
Let's go. Yes, sir.
Okay. All
That's
right, all
merch,
right.
baby. That's merch. What's up?
You looking good. You looking yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, that's right. Easy Monday motivation. If you're interested in grabbing a t-shirt or, wanting to support us, please, follow, like, comment, share with your friends. We're here for you as well. And again, t-shirts will become available. You'll be able to order those and we'll be able to get them out to you. That way you can have your easy Monday motivation as well. So we just want to start. We're pretty plain here. We're pretty docile. We want people to be happy on their Monday, but we do so in the spirit of really trying to connect. So we do it with an example every single week by me and Chris, or my man CT, checking in with each other. So let me go ahead and check in. CT, how you doing today, brother?
Man, I'm fantastic today. I'll be, you know, you know how some people say, "I'll just be honest," and they'll be, does that suggest that they're not honest before? Like, so I catch myself. I'm like, I try to be as honest as I can, as often as I can. Like, no, listen, I'm solid, man. My wife celebrated her birthday.
Happy
I'm not gonna put
birthday.
her age up on this piece, because she's
Hey,
gonna be.
hey.
But
You're 20. You're 29. It's always 29. Like
perpetual 29, sir. Let's go with that number.
that's
Somebody
it.
told you, didn't they?
That's right.
I wasn't supposed to even tell that number. You know what I'm saying?
See, they always find that 29.
Listen, yes, and she been fine since the day I
Hey,
met her. Lord
all
Jesus,
right, all right.
come back. So no, we got to celebrate her birthday, and one of the coolest things is all of the kids and her dad and his wife, her brother, they all came by the spot and really just loved on her. And it's always wonderful to watch family just intentionally show up for each other. And so
Yeah.
that fueled me, man. It was good. So yeah, solid weekend. How about you?
Man, yeah. Again, I had a weekend. There was nothing hindering me from doing any of the things that I wanted to do. I think there's some consistency in my method. I try
One of
not
these
to tell
weekends,
on
you
myself.
gonna fool all of us. I know
No,
you
right?
are.
Yeah, like I try not to tell on myself for what I do on the weekend. That way, you know, can't nobody corner me to be like, I thought you said you did X. I did exactly what I said that I did, which was I did everything I wanted to, and it was wonderful. I did go to the movies.
What'd you see?
Yeah, I went and see the new Blue Beetle
Okay.
movie, DC movie, Hispanic superhero that gets an alien scarab on his back and gives him superpowers and stuff. It was interesting. It was cool. I like George Lopez and he did a great job. The movie overall was pretty good. So I got to do that. I got to play around with some dishes and some drinks, and then I went to a food truck festival with the chef Ron. So we did get to do that. We got some content there. So yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Shoot,
I
food
had a lot of
trucks.
fun this weekend.
Hey man, like
Yeah.
because we had family, everybody come through, man. We didn't get a chance to get out there. But if you want to know like what we do, our love language in this house is food.
Mm.
And food
Mm.
trucks, 100%. Like that
Okay.
food truck that's back off in the corner. You ain't supposed to go back there by yourself. Like you got to make sure it's daylight outside, but the food smells good.
Smell
That
real good. Yeah.
that kind of food truck.
Mm.
We get down like
Yeah.
that, sure. For
Okay.
sure. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, yeah. Well, we'll definitely be on the lookout. Me and Chef Rome do have another podcast coming for it's food talk.
Mm.
So it's a food cast. We call it a food cast, not a podcast.
Nice. Nice.
So that way you'll get to see our review of the Hilliard Food Truck Festival. But let's go ahead and jump into it for today. Today's our topics are control
Mm,
and change.
mm.
Now, I'm gonna paint a picture, right?
Okay.
And I want you to go with, right? I wish I had a button that like created like a delusional thing. Follow me into a dream
I
thing,
got you.
right?
I'm
Yeah, okay. All
visualizing.
right. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So I there's people in the world, such as myself, who are naturally motivated, naturally bubbly, naturally have this just energy and light, right? There's just people who just naturally have. And in my own opinion, in my own experience, I think some of it is due to control
Mm,
and change.
mm.
And now let me break that down a little bit more.
Talk to me.
The reason why I think that it's easier to have it is because we recognize quickly what we can control and what we can change.
Mm,
And when we run into scenarios where we're not in control of it and it can change us, we're
mm,
more adaptable.
yeah,
And when we run into situations where we have control, but we have to deal with other things to make change,
yeah,
we work well with people. So therefore, there's always a way forward. But there are times when there are some people who struggle with these concepts
mm,
because there are some people who need to be in control or don't recognize when they're not in control. As well as there are people who, you know, don't want to change or
yeah,
obstinate to change. But then there are some people who are constantly changing. I mean, you you meet them today and they're like, oh yeah, Hinduism, I'm doing my thing. And then next time you're like, Scientology, I'm figuring out. Next time you see me, like, I'm a Buddhist, right? Okay, like, and they're okay in that way because they're still working towards some goal. They're still building, they're still being motivated to keep seeking something. But I think sometimes struggling with those two aspects really hurt people in the sense of staying motivated because they run into these things that they can't control and they run into these things they can't change and it just depletes them. You become defeated so quickly. So I'm going to start with control first.
yeah.
In your experience, CT, what have you found as one of the best practices of dealing with things that you cannot control?
I think it's a fascinating question, and I appreciated what you shared. I tell you that do you like peanut butter and jelly?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, not everybody likes peanut butter and jelly, but for the purposes of our discussion today, if I said peanut butter and jelly, most people, at least in America, they would know exactly what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter what kind of jelly and even what kind of peanut butter. It would just be
As
that
long as it
those
was
two
creamy and
things.
not that thick nutty stuff. That
Don't play with it.
yeah.
Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Oh, that's so much. But so sometimes when you think about these two words almost working separately, I would tell you that they actually work together. And in
Mm,
the context of the control piece of it, I would tell you that I don't know anybody who's really in control. I
mhm,
would tell you that there are people that are more aware of what's happening inside of them, that then when things happen, or I know you ain't going to change yet, but when things change,
mhm.
they're not hung up on the change because they've
Right.
learned to control what's happening inside of them.
Okay.
And it's one of those things, like if I'm looking outside my window and it's storming out of my window,
Mhm,
um, I can control whether or not I get impacted or affected by those elements. If I chose to go outside and
mhm.
I got wet, and then I fussed about getting wet, that was in my control.
True. Agreed.
Sometimes when we start thinking about these concepts like control, I actually tend to think that the freest people, the most independent, like folks that just take life easy. And
Yeah.
as we talked about last week, have that internal motivation. They've surrendered control over the things that are external to them. And they've learned to control what's happening on the inside of them, because what they know and they recognize is that every single day I show up, something's going to change.
I you know what? I, I love it. Hold on. Let me go ahead and do this for you. Listen, that's spot on. Okay. That is spot on. Thank you so much. You're right. And to build on that a little bit more, in the control cycle, I know we're gonna go to change, but
Yeah.
I definitely agree that the internal happiness that you have by being able to deal with oneself,
Mhm.
controlling yourself
Yeah.
is way more important than thinking you have any semblance of control outside of self. Like the delusion that you drive the world and your choice. Like, I mean, I agree there's some butterfly effect to things, right?
Right, right, right.
I get that part, right? You do impact things. But impact versus control are two different things,
That
right?
different.
And to walk around with this notion of, listen, I make decisions on everything that happens in my world is just something I think that you would end up burning yourself out for, because there's so many things that happen, like from the person cutting you off to the child crying on the plane to someone dropping a drink somewhere and you step in it in your nice shoes. Like, there's all these things you have no control over, that if you can control yourself,
Th-
the
there,
baby's crying is not that big of a deal.
there it
The,
is,
the
though, right?
walking in that puddle is
Come
just a puddle, right?
Come on.
Okay, so I'm with you. I'm
Yeah.
with you. I see what you're saying. Okay, so we're gonna flip it to control. I mean,
So
we're gonna
let's
flip
take
it
it.
to
Wait,
change.
hold on, real quick. Like, I think
Okay,
Janet
go
Jackson
for it.
said it well in her song
Oh,
"Control."
okay,
I'm not
okay.
gonna go there. No, so but see the example though, like for real, like the thing we can control, because if it's truly about control,
Yeah.
we recognize that there are outward things that are going on that are going to impact what happens in our lives. What
Yeah.
I can control is my response to that thing.
Yes.
If I'm trying to tell that thing what to do, I don't control it. What I do control is that once it's happened, what is my response to the thing that's
Response.
happened? That's where I get my control. And I can be motivated by the idea that that happened. I can't do a daggone thing about it. And I'm going to keep stepping. That's
Okay.
control.
That
That's
is, you're right. That's good. I need to exercise control like that sometimes. I walk into certain places and I see certain people, and like it'd be things that go on in my head. It'd be like, Eric, you would really, really benefit from not getting that ice cream out of that poor child's hand and watching him. So, okay, let me behave. Okay, so but I know I need to change.
like, I wasn't supposed to laugh at that, but like I can't lie.
I know that's why I started with visuals, to give you visuals. So okay, you fell for that one. It's okay. All right. So moving to change. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Change is inevitable. We all know, we all heard all of the different sayings, and remember, we even had a serenade from our producer Chef Rome about change is gonna come. So change is something that is just like always in the making. There's something that I was looking at when it comes to change, and it seems that change has seasons, right?
Say more.
It's like, and they're always driven by something that compels you to change. Like, there's outside change where, hey, CL, how you doing, baby? There's outside change, or we would say precipitating change, where it's a precipitating factor that forces you to change. You have, the immovable object and the unstoppable force. Okay, you're not immovable, you move, right? There's that. But there's things that cause you to change, right? And those seasons of change. So I'm gonna give some examples of them.
Okay.
And then I want to hear what you think. So typically you have to learn enough to change. So if there's something that you want to get better at, right? Let's say you want to learn a language. You have to learn enough of that language to be able to change that you can speak multiple dialects, right?
Yep. Yep.
You have to be inspired enough to change.
Okay.
So I could be okay with you doing something, but if it truly inspires me, I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get out here. I'm gonna get at it. So I'm gonna get up, get out, and get at it because you have inspired me. Chris, you in CT, you inspire me all the time. So when me and you talk sometimes, I just get up. I gotta move. Right? So inspired enough to go do something. Or we're going a little deep, but you have been hurt enough to change. Meaning you've been through hell and high water, and you like, I'm not doing this no more, right? And then the last one is you have received enough to change. So there's something you was deficient on. Let's say that there was resources you were really lacking. And the moment you got just enough, let's say you were saving up for that car that would allow for you to get a better job, and you got enough. You were able to save that money, you got that car. Now you can start making changes. Those are the seasons of change that I've kind of researched. I want to hear your thoughts on those reasons. And if you want me to repeat anything, let me know.
I think as you were talking, when you first said seasons, right? The immediate thing that flashed for me was, because of where we live, we do get seasonal changes, right?
Right.
And the requirement of us who have right minds is that when the season changes, I now change how I show up in that season. And typically we change our clothes.
Right.
If I'm in the summertime and it's 90 some degrees outside, I am not wearing a winter coat. And subsequently, if it is wintertime and it's -0, I'm not walking around in flip flops.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna keep going because somebody out there is thinking about what I'm talking about right now without me saying what it is that I'm talking about, and they're laughing about it, but I'm not gonna say nothing. So, to the extent as I think about this seasonal thing, when
Mhm.
you consider that there is always this constant state of change, and even in the season that I'm in, right? So, I might in summertime wear clothes that are appropriate for summer, but some days it might be chillier. So I might
True.
have to change what I do in that season to ensure that I can be comfortable and accommodate whatever it is I need to do while I'm in that season. So to the extent that the list of things that you provided, I think the one thing in the context of motivation that really creates a highlight for me is this idea that anytime I'm in a season of my life where I know that I'm going to have to change,
Mhm.
I do need inspiration to help me get through that change.
Mhm.
And if I have enough, maybe that's a part of the problem. It's because I
Yeah.
do. And if I have enough, maybe I become complacent, so then I don't change, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so the motivation that I need might be that I don't have enough, which is the thing that produces me to be inspired to change so that I can get to wherever it is that I'm trying to go next. Because I know a new season is coming because it's always coming.
That's
I
right.
know that especially if I live in Ohio, I've got to go from wearing a coat to wearing a jacket to wearing a tank top. Whatever, however that goes, as I'm moving through seasons, I'm changing in those seasons. And you know what I can't do? I can't control what happens when I wake up in the morning.
That is
Because
true.
yesterday, when I woke up, it was sunny outside. The day
Mhm.
before, when I woke up, it was raining outside. So
Mhm.
I had to adjust or change based upon what was happening external to me, and I couldn't control it. So the thing that becomes the inspiration for me is that when I see the thing in front of me, I recognize I can't control it. I
Mhm.
just have to make sure I'm changing what's happening inside of me so I can make sure I can deal with it.
Okay. You know what? See, I I'm a hold up, let me hit him again.
You
All
again?
right, okay, all right. I'm gonna go ahead and hit him again.
Give
But
me.
okay, no, you right, you right. I mean, I agree. And they are synonymous, right? And
Yes.
being okay and adaptable to change will allow for you to stay in your motivation because
That's
you're
right.
not going to be thrown off your kilter behind the fact that there's something that's happening you cannot control.
That's
So I'm with you. I definitely and I even in my own life, like I've experienced these seasons where when I was hurt and it gave me new focus and new purpose for me to focus on things that I needed to work on, right? And when I had an abundance of resources or abundance of support, I was able to move things that I was never ever able to really think of a feasible way to do because now I got this support. So now I can make this change because I got these people that are standing behind me. Now I can deal with this because it hurts so much that I can't avoid it. I'm gonna go to the doctor now to get checked out because this pain is getting the best of me.
yeah.
Like there are
Yes.
those things that just
Right.
drive people to change. But I think to the point of change and control, it is very important to know that you can change and be okay with the fact that you're not in control.
Yeah. That's
So okay, all right, I'm with that. All right, so CT, what
yes.
I'm thinking is, I'm thinking we right in that sweet spot, right? We right in that sweet spot because that made me like think about some of the guidance that I got in my life, right? So I
Yeah.
want to know,
Yeah.
I want to know what would grandma do?
What would grandma do? I'm starting to actually love this segment of our conversation because one, it helps me to be reminded of how amazing my 97-year-old grandmother is,
Give
and
it up to grandmothers around the world. Give it up to the grandmas out here.
grandmas
Hold it
out
down.
here age. Let's go. And the thing about it is, I didn't, as we talked about this, we had two words, right, that we wanted to play with. But in the spirit of time, I was thinking the better word, because there's something we can do with change. How do we stay motivated through change? So
Okay.
let me throw something at you and let me see what we can do with it, right? So as we think about how we stay motivated, through this change. The first thing that I want us to think about is this idea that we've got to make sure we're catching ourselves, catching the thoughts that are coming into our minds, the perspectives that we have. And sometimes if we are telling ourselves the wrong story, we might be catching the wrong thing. And if I catch a cold in my brain, then everything else doesn't work real well. Not to go Bible on you, but there is a passage of scripture that says, take every thought captive under the obedience of Christ. And so to the extent that I'm thinking in my mind, wait a minute, there's some things I need to not be processing. And so I need
Yes.
you to, in the place where you're wanting to be motivated, you've got to catch yourself in the story that you're telling. And when you hear that story, you've got to be honest with yourself. What
Okay.
is it that you're telling? Are you lying to yourself because there's something that's happening in your life? There's a trauma that you are dealing with, and you're not being honest about what's going on. Well, Chris, how do I make sure that I am telling the truth or I'm being honest with myself? You've got to ask yourself the right questions. Sometimes, if we don't give ourselves permission to ask the right kind of questions, we don't know if we're dealing with truth or not. How do I get there? I surround myself with people like Scotch E. I surround myself with people who I think in some environments they call them truth tellers. Some people who want to look you in your blind spot and tell you the truth, and whether or not you like it, you hear it. And if you ask the right questions in an honest way, because you've caught that thought, maybe you get to a place where you can start. I'd like to, ladies and gentlemen, introduce you to a friend of mine. Anybody? Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? It's a good friend of mine. You ever met this? No. Yeah. Wait. No. Wait. No. Wait. No. Yeah. For the last time. No. See, if we give ourselves permission, my friend, to once we've been honest with ourselves about what's going on, because I've asked the right questions, and I'm like, wait a minute. No. I'm not going to do that. No. I'm not going to think that way. No, I'm not going to give life to that thing that is not actually going to help me continue to grow, which then, and no, G is not grow. It's something much nicer. It's
Okay.
the idea that I've got to, once I've told myself no, I've got to give myself permission to allow grace to be my gift. Sometimes we don't give ourselves enough grace because we've told the wrong story. We've not been honest about what it is that we're going through. So my encouragement to someone who is in the midst of change, as you think about how you're motivated today and you're saying no, maybe for the first time, to something you've consistently said yes to, give yourself that permission and the grace to say no. And when you do that, you know what you can do? You can enjoy yourself. Enjoy the life that you have. You can enjoy the days that you are in. You can, in the midst of change, not be so worried about controlling that change, but you're enjoying the idea that you've given yourself permission and the grace to say no. And because you're giving yourself permission to say no, you are in a place where you ask even better questions. And the better questions you ask in the most honest way possible, you catch them things that cross your mind and tell you you're not important and you're not great and you're not amazing and you're not whatever it is that someone says that you're not. You can tell yourself that you are. Thank you, Grandma.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I see you. I see TCU. I see TCUCT. Okay. All right. All right.
Let's
Well,
go.
it sounds like grandma would make changes. Okay. Sounds like that's what she would do.
That's
Grandma
right.
definitely thinking about it. And I like how you started with like catch yourself, right? It's
Yeah.
like you have that awareness, right? Like be in the moment, be present, make sure you're aware of yourself and the things that you got going on, the choices available to you too, right?
Yes.
We definitely have to stay present, especially in those moments when change is occurring, right? Because you don't want to miss out on the details of those changes.
Yeah.
And then being honest with yourself, I love it. Like, okay, so checking myself to make sure I'm attentive, and then I got to be honest with myself, right? And ask myself a question.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So that way I am all the way engaged, right? I am all the way engaged into everything that's happening. But then I need to be okay with saying no. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So once I say no, and I'm okay with it because I'm present and I'm not just saying no just to say no. And I'm being honest with myself. And I've asked myself all the questions. And now I've said no. Right. Now it's okay to give myself grace because I know that it's okay to say no. That's what you're telling me I'm allowed to do?
Doesn't that feel good though?
Yeah, it does. Like,
feel
I'm
right?
at this place and I'm like, I don't have any regrets. I don't feel any pressure because I did everything I was supposed to do to enact the change that I was looking for. And now that I have no grudges and no one's harboring any bad feelings against me because I was honest, I asked all the questions. I was open to say no.
Mm-hmm.
I can enjoy myself. I can really sit back and just enjoy myself. That's what you're saying. I'm allowed to do now.
Isn't life to be lived? Isn't it to be enjoyed? Do you wonder maybe the thing we're missing is that we're trying too hard to control something that was never meant for us to control, and that we've thought about change in such a negative way that we've lost sight of this idea that every day that we wake up, the joy of us being awake, 'cause
Mm-hmm,
somebody else
mm-hmm.
did not.
That's
I
true.
you better enjoy your life because you only get one of them.
You right. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and roll this into a feeling that I think that me and you have. Every day is Friday,
Every
and
come on,
yeah, like we got a hashtag Every Day Friday a little bit. So let's go ahead and plug in some hashtag Every Day is Friday.
every
We're
day
gonna do
is
that.
Friday.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
I love it. No, I definitely think that with that, I mean, you laid it out eloquently. We are in a better space when you are okay with accepting that you can't control everything and
Yeah,
you can make those changes.
that's right.
All right. All right. So with that said, I feel like my everyday is all set up, right? I feel like I'm motivated now to know how to make change, how to institute that change. And I'm gonna go ahead and pay homage to grandma. So what would grandma do? Thank you. Everybody give it up for grandmas around the world. Everybody give it up to the grandmothers, 96-year-olds still laying out that wonderful info. That's what
That's
it is. Each one teach one. Each one teach one. And keep reaching back and teaching and teaching.
that's
So
it.
all right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and move into our final thoughts.
Yes.
And we go, this is where we get a chance to kind of plug, go over what we talked about, and really enjoy Monday. So we're setting ourselves up for a successful week,
Yeah.
guys. We're almost at the end of August. Let's look forward to the things. Yes, the kids are back in school. Yes, things are getting a little bit more hectic, but let's not jump to conclusions on Mondays. Okay, let's get set up. Come meet us on Mondays. Get your
Yes.
motivation, and we gonna knock this week out before you know it'll be Friday, right? Because
Every
every
day
day
is
is
Fridays.
Friday, right? See what I'm saying? All right. So let CT, I'm gonna turn to you and see what final thoughts you got for us.
Listen, man, I think I've enjoyed very much this discussion we've had, and I'm even grateful for anybody who would even give us time to be able to hear what it is that we want to impart. Because at the end of the day, we believe that being motivated, internally motivated, gives you a headset that allows every day to be Friday. But even
Right.
if you don't identify with Friday, maybe it's that every day is a day where you feel like, man. I believe it was was it Ice Cube, I believe, who coined the words in a song that said something like today
Today is a
was
good
a good
day.
day. Yeah, 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 yeah. Today was a good day. And
Today was a good day.
anytime we have the right kind of motivation, and that's I think the heart of what we're trying to pull out of this
Yeah,
is that every day is a good day.
that's right.
And every day can be a great day when you consider that the world that you live in, that you function in, it's not in your control, and that it's not your job to change it. It's your job to change you.
Oh man, you know what? Thank you, CT. It's your job to change you. Hey, we're gonna get a t-shirt room. Let's go ahead and hashtag that up. It's your job to change you. All right,
Oh.
hashtag CT. I love it. All right, guys. So with that, we definitely appreciate you tuning in. We will meet you next Monday. Be on the lookout for the food podcast we got coming up, the food talks, as well as check out on Thursday. I believe it's around 8:30. We got the Just Clowning with my boys, C Mello and Malk. Be on the lookout, of course, for the podcast about nothing. We air on Fridays and Sundays sometimes. I think this week we might be back on Sunday. So be on the lookout for it. We'll be posting that. And again, you can reach out to us, hit us with that daggone illustration, you know what I'm saying, that you want on the t-shirt. You want that
So
t-shirt? Come get that swag. Come get
that
that.
merch,
All right.
that merch.
So All right. So thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful one and happy Monday.
Peace.